This is Eyewitness News with Katrina Lee, Tim Webster and the entire Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, I'm Katrina Lee.
And I'm Tim Webster.
Unemployment, it's a problem both federal and state governments have been wrestling with for years. Tonight, the Action Line team reports on a Sydney man's battle with bureaucracy in his efforts to create over 100 jobs this Christmas season. George Willison has more. George.
Yes, Katrina, the man is Canadian entrepreneur Steve Tobis, who came to Australia to set up an ice cream selling business. He's been battling with the Sydney Council to get permission for his ice cream vending bicycles to operate on city streets. But according to Steve, Council is using a turn-of-the-century bylaw to stop his project. As a result, he says over 100 people will miss out on summertime jobs. So Action Line's Andrew Watson has been investigating.
A couple of months ago, Steve Tobis came to Australia with a simple idea: sell ice cream in the summer and provide some jobs. But now it's gone wrong.
Government actually says you're not allowed to ride on the footway because there's a lot of people in the city. There's one, you're causing an obstruction by riding upon the footway. So you have to ride on the roadway, make a sale and move on.
Am I causing any more of an obstruction than the fruit bearer or than the guy selling newspapers?
They have license.
Well, if they're allowed to sell, then I should be allowed to sell.
No, I'm telling you, you're not allowed to do it.
That's now an everyday event for him and his ice cream sellers. But why?
We don't think we're doing anything harmful. This is the only Commonwealth where such an enterprise is not allowed. It's allowed in Canada, it's allowed in England, where there's 50 million people in England. There's no problem with ice cream vending, hot dog vending, or anything of the nature. Here with a high unemployment, the government would rather let them see them be on dole than be working.
The council are using a bylaw passed in 1919 to close down the unusual ice cream bikes. But judging from the public's response, they like the bright bikes. Apart from providing jobs, a big plus for the bikes is that there's no noise pollution and no petrol fumes. But Steve Tobis isn't going to give up the fight to get his ice cream bikes on the street. His next move is to take the case up with Premier Neville Wran. But it seems to come down to this: are the ice cream bikes an obstruction and an eyesore, as the City Council says? Well, judge for yourself. Andrew Watson, Eyewitness News, Action Line.
Yes, since Andrew filmed that story this morning, Steve Tobis claims council officials have been harassing his staff and threatening them with $200 fines, with the result that a number of young people resigned this afternoon. Andrew will be investigating that story further tomorrow. Also last night on Action Line, we reported on a Canadian businessman's battle with the Sydney City Council. Steve Tobis has a small fleet of brightly coloured ice cream vending bikes, but as we showed in last night's report, council rangers have been refusing to let them operate on city streets. Well, today, Action Line's Andrew Watson took the issue to the Lord Mayor Doug Sutherland, who said he had no knowledge of the problem. Here's Andrew with more on that story.
A few weeks ago, Steve Tobis started up his unusual ice cream selling business, providing about 100 jobs for young people. But trouble hit in the former Sydney Council officials, who said he couldn't get a licence for the ice cream bikes, and then harassment followed. But following last night's Action Line story, Lord Mayor Doug Sutherland says there's hope for the ice cream bikes.
I wouldn't like to just condemn it out of hand. They're quite attractive looking units. Our health people are satisfied that there's no health risk involved in them. The problem is that he has 12 of them on the streets now, and the prospects are of another 50. Now, they are definitely causing traffic problems in terms of congestion and delay, and also causing obstruction of pedestrians. But I'd like him to make a formal application, which he hasn't done yet, and then we'll look at it very seriously and very sensitively too.
But the Lord Mayor's views don't seem to have reached the council's rangers. This afternoon they fined 5 young people $200 each, and the rangers have been photographing the young ice cream vendors. Andrew Watson, Eyewitness News, Action Line.
So some curious developments, and we're interested to hear what the Lord Mayor has to say about those tactics. Andrew plans to speak to him again tomorrow. During the last 2 nights on Action Line, we've reported on the problems of businessman Steve Tobis. Steve's been battling with the Sydney City Council for permission to operate a fleet of ice cream selling bikes on the streets. Late yesterday, we learned a number of the vendors had been fined $200. That was after Lord Mayor Doug Sutherland told Action Line's Andrew Watson that the ice cream vendors would be treated sensitively. So Andrew went back to the Lord Mayor today.
The big problem for Steve Tobis and his unusual ice cream bikes has been the City Council's rangers. He claims they they've been harassing him. And yesterday, after the Lord Mayor said he would sensitively investigate Steve's case, the Rangers struck again. They photographed his young workers and told 5 of the youngsters they would be fined $200. Today, Lord Mayor Doug Sutherland said there would be no action against the young ice cream sellers.
But I would emphasise that it is not contemplated pursuing to litigation, taking these young people to court. What they're doing in good faith, believing they're not breaking the law, but they have created in this operation serious problems as to the obstruction of the free use of the footpaths and also the roadways, the carriageway.
Steve Tobus has now filed an application with the council to get his bikes on the road, and we'll report on their decision. Andrew Watson, Eyewitness News, Action Line.
Some interesting developments.